Welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. My guest today is Hannah Worth. Hi, Hannah.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Rich?
Yeah, very well, very well. It's we're getting into winter, so I'm starting to feel the cold, which is just snuck up on us.
Yeah, my puppy who comes to work with me, I bring her blankets now. She
Yeah.
decided the other day it was too cold and she steals my clients' jackets when they take them off. So she's got her own blanket that comes to the gym.
Brilliant. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They tell us, don't they? So yeah, tell us about that. So let's start with where you are now, and we can go backwards and forwards as we go. Whereabouts are you working?
So I'm based out of a gym called Carbon Method CrossFit. I'm one of three PTs that contract out of the space, and
Yeah,
then my boss and head coach also does PT clients while like
yeah,
outside of coaching hours.
yeah.
Um, And so, yeah, it's a CrossFit box. All of my clients are just kettlebell or movement specialists. So I
Okay.
do kettlebells, pre-postnatal training, and movement kind of rehab stuff.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I've just got a nice big open space. Lots of what I do is very resistance bands, kettlebells, moving around the gym. Not a lot of machines in my style of training.
Sure. Yeah. No. No. I like it. That's definitely that's the way to go. Um, and so how long have you been based there?
I've been at Carbon. We're in a brand new space. So the space has been open for a year and I've been there since opening.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now I know you've got history with Les Mills, haven't you? Did you begin at Les Mills, or did you do other things before Les Mills?
So I started PTing at Les Mills. So
Right.
I went to university in America on a rowing
Mm.
scholarship.
Yeah.
And I have a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology, which is just a fancy word for human movement.
Yeah.
And my minor was in coaching. So then I came home and then COVID hit. So I was locked
Yeah.
up for a while and then started gym instructing at the Olympic pools in Newmarket. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
just where
Yeah.
I was training. So they kind of knew me from my
Mm.
time at college. And then I just came back and they were like, look, you can work here. So I did
Mm.
that for a year and then was like, right, I want to do more and just work with more people. And there was an opportunity at Les Mills Britomart. So I jumped on that and I was there for 2 years to start up the PT career. And then
Yeah.
I've just finished my third year, which was on my own at the private gym.
Nice. 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 And so, did you know about that private gym before, or were you just sort of looking to find a different environment?
Um, so I started training at Carbon in probably July the year before. So I moved in there the first week of March last year. So the year before that, I was training there. And I kind of had a lot of ties into the gym. So I partner with the
Ah.
physio clinic that works out of the gym. So I'd been
Yeah.
going to the physio there for a while. And then my head coach, his name's Mark, he actually was my partner's gymnastics coach for elite
Ah.
gymnastics through his
Okay.
whole childhood. So
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
few different ties. And then my PT mentor, Mike Huffam, was also working out of Carbon. So everyone was just kind of like, Hannah, you have to go to Carbon. And then when I got there and I was training, Mark mentioned to me that they were going to be relocating to a bigger space. And when they did that, they would be wanting to bring on a PT if I wanted to. So that was in about August. So then, yeah, 6 months later, we got the space and I
Yeah.
moved pretty much straight away.
Right, right. Good on you. Fantastic. So is there obviously there's class group stuff that goes on in the box. And then you would have people stay on and do some individual stuff, or how does that work?
So my clients are, well, a couple of them have actually just started doing CrossFit just for themselves, but I don't have like CrossFit clients. All of my clients actually came with me from Les Mills.
Right.
So I had a 92% carryover rate. I left behind two clients
Really?
and I still program for them online, but they live right next door to the gym. So where
Yeah.
I am now is just a bit far away.
Yeah.
But I do have some members from CrossFit who come in and see me. And
Yeah.
they'll stay on after class. But the way our gym's set up is the CrossFit class area is downstairs, and then we have the PT space upstairs. So I pretty
Ah,
much have that whole space to myself.
brilliant. Okay, cool. And so what have you got up there that may not be downstairs?
Honestly, we have a bit of both. We do have our new, it's called the Cable Pro. It's like a cable attachment that you can move around the gym. So that
Ah,
stays up the back in the PT
yeah.
area, and so does our trap bar and our GHD machines. Otherwise, everything is in both spaces.
Ah,
The
okay.
downstairs space is just a little bit bigger, so it can fit more people.
Yeah.
And so just depending on like what time of day it is, depends where my clients will be. We switch between both rooms. We've got a full squat rig in both rooms,
Right.
lots of pull-up bars, rings, ropes, you
Yeah.
name it, we have it.
Yeah. Sounds a really good setup.
It's an excellent gym. If you ever want to come through, definitely let me
I
know.
should do. I should do. I need to do more visits. I keep talking to people on here and going, when I'm in such and such a place, I will come and see you. And they're like, yeah, great. I've got a list as long as long as my arm of
Well, look,
people I
I'm in
can come and
Mount
go.
Eden, so pretty
Oh, that's
close.
not far. That's not far.
Yeah.
I've got very little excuse. Yeah. So talk us through. You talked about so pre PT years. Um, you're clearly obviously into rowing in a big way, and that took you overseas. So were you a competitive rower through school, and then that's what
Yeah.
led to going overseas?
Yeah, so I've been an athlete my whole life.
Yeah.
I did pretty much every sport under the sun. As a kid, I did gymnastics, I did swimming, I did football. My football was like my top sport growing up, and then an ankle injury ended that for me. And then
Right.
it was in high school that I picked up lacrosse and rowing. And I absolutely adored lacrosse. I was on our under 19 training New Zealand national team.
Mm,
And rowing I loved as well. And so I kind of had to balance both of those through the 5 years of high school. But being from New Zealand, rowing internationally, we are very, very good. Whereas
mm.
lacrosse, we're kind of small in the lacrosse
Yeah.
world. So
Yeah.
I knew that if I wanted to continue my sport and get an education, that rowing was the way to go. And I was offered a scholarship at a couple of different places. But I went to Michigan State University.
Okay. And so you were there, what, 3 years?
I was there. I did my degree was 4 years, but I was
Right.
in Michigan for 3.5, and
Okay.
then I actually did one semester in Ecuador.
Ah, very
Yeah,
nice too. So you got to travel too.
yeah. I was a Spanish minor as well, so I did a little bit of Spanish, and I had some weightlifting classes in Ecuador, and that was actually where I learned to Olympic lift for the first time. So
Oh, right. Really? Okay. So there was an affiliation with where you were in Ecuador and the Michigan Uni?
yeah, our university was partnered with them.
Got you. Got you. What a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, it was excellent. I'd recommend it to anyone. Like the chance to be able to continue my sport
Mm,
and be educated. Whereas had I stayed in New Zealand, I would have had the option at trialing for the national rowing team. However, that would have been all out of my own pocket, and I would have at most been able to do university part-time, which I
mm,
didn't really want to slow down the education side of it either, because that's
mm.
always been something I've been really passionate about.
Sure, sure. So while you were doing the degree, was there a significant amount of training time required from a rowing point of view?
Yeah, so when you're a student athlete, it is 20 hours of training a week
Yeah.
of mandatory coaching hours.
Right.
Outside of that, you have it was 10 study hall hours that you had to
Yeah.
do, and you had to maintain above a certain GPA, which
Right.
I think it was like 325, so a pretty high GPA.
Right.
You're not allowed to slack off because if you fail your classes, you're not allowed to compete.
Okay.
Um, and then we had probably 7 hours of rehab, and then we traveled every weekend. So Friday afternoon, we were on the bus. Saturday, we were racing. Sunday, we were on the bus home. We drove as far as we drove to Tennessee. We drove to Georgia. We flew to Florida, but we drove all over.
Crikey. That's quite a commitment. There's not a lot of downtime there.
No, often like there were some days that we'd come home we'd land, or by the time we'd get back to university, it would be like 2 or 3 o'clock on a Monday morning, and
Mm,
we would have training that day or that night, and
mm,
we still had to manage a full class load as well.
Geez. I mean, did you know that's how much you were letting yourself in for before it started?
I knew it was going to be a lot. Rowing as a sport on its own is always a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't know quite how much, but I think it really prepared me for when I graduated. I just had so much free time that
Mhm.
now it's even like helpful for PT because it taught me very, very good time management skills, how to get a lot of stuff done in a short time frame, and how to balance all of the different things. And I think it's really
Mm.
helped in my career now because I find it easy to juggle that many things, and I'm used to operating on like less hours of sleep than the average person.
Is that sustainable though?
Well, I still get about 6 hours every night. Sorry, it's quite warm in here.
That's
Is
right.
that too loud?
No, you're good. You're good.
Sweet. Yeah, I aim to get about 6 hours. I'm pretty strict on my bedtime, so
Yeah.
I get home and it's 9:30 bedtime. My friends are like, "Let's go out for dinner," and I'm like, "Sorry, it's past bedtime. Gotta go." So
That
that's how
is
I keep it sustainable.
Yeah, that is one of the things we have to kind of commit to, isn't it? If we're gonna be good the next morning for our clients and or whatever we've got on, it's got a strict regime. It's interesting you say that. That whole sort of forced learning in terms of time management. Was that something you were okay at doing previously, or did you need help, or was it literally this is what's happening and you learn on the go?
I think even through high school, like rowing is such a demanding sport that even in high school, I had to learn how to do it pretty quick. And like I said, I
Mm,
was juggling national team lacrosse with rowing, like high level. I was on the Auckland representative rowing squad. So both of them I was doing to a high level. I would
mm,
often finish rowing training and go straight to lacrosse practice. So rowing would be from like 3:30 to 6, and then
mm.
lacrosse was from 6:30 to I think 8:30 it used to finish, and then I'd go home, go to bed, get up, do it all again the next day. Sometimes there was training in the morning as well. So I got very good very young at like getting
Mm.
all my homework done and doing all my sport. And that was always the rule with my parents was if I didn't do my
Sure.
homework, I didn't get to go to training. So
Yeah, yeah. So it's very similar to once you're in Michigan, really. You got to keep your
pretty
stats
much,
up.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
always been kind of a structure through my life. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So obviously kettlebell is a big thing, and before we hit record, you were talking about the course that you've been and done overseas. Tell us a little bit about that. Obviously, that helps build your knowledge base, but what interested you in doing it, and tell us a bit about the course.
yeah, so I have been interested in kettlebells since I started my PT career. So they've always kind of been a focal point for me and something that I've been interested in learning and always use with my clients. I tell my clients that it's my favorite toy in the gym. So we
Mm,
do use other things, but a lot of what I do is based on the kettlebells. And so my coach, her name is Sam Siasia, and she is currently based in Mexico, but she was based in New York. I found her through Instagram for probably 20 would have been like early 2021 when I was
mm-hmm,
starting my own kettlebell journey.
mm,
And so I've been following her. And then I did a webinar of hers. It was a 5-day webinar. And on that, there was the chance to win a spot on her 12-week bell mechanics course. And
mm,
I was lucky enough to win that spot. So then I trained with her for 12 weeks. And after that, I was like, the learning was amazing. The stuff that she was teaching was just what I needed. And the community that I had, like as a PT, it can get very isolating,
mm,
especially like I started my career at 22 years old. So I wasn't very
mm,
old.
mm.
And to be fully self-employed, it was kind of like, okay, throw yourself in the deep end and
Yeah.
you've got no one to talk shop with. So the Bell Mechanics, I joined the mentorship, and that has given me just a community of coaches that I can talk shop with. I can ask them questions. I can get advice on any area of PT, and that has been totally invaluable. So I've been with the Bell Mechanics team for about a year now.
Yeah.
And in December of last year, my coach let us know she was setting up a certification,
Mm,
and she was like, look, if you can get there, you'll be one of the first trainers. So I'm one of the very first Bell Mechanics certified trainers.
nice.
And so I got to fly to New York for a 3-day certification event. And it was more like a lot of times certifications are testing you on your skills. This
Mm,
one was testing you on your coaching ability. So
right.
how do you progress exercises? How do you regress them? What are the variations? Like looking at it more from a coaching perspective, but also as a clinician rather than just being a gym bro. You're
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
there and you're trying to get people from stuck to unstuck, and you're
Mm,
looking at it
mm,
through the eyes of a clinician more than, oh, let's lift heavy weights.
mm, mm. Nice.
So it
Excellent.
was, yeah, incredible to be in a room with people who think, you're all thinking like-minded, you're all
Mm,
wanting the best. And we had
mm,
a little team workout that we did that was meant to be a really short, like we'll just go through a few different movements and kind of in the same time we were outlining how to design an effective program. And we just started picking up the bells and we were doing this squat ladder that just turned into PR hour, and to have 30 other kettlebell coaches like cheering you on and the energy in the room was just unmatched.
Brilliant. Superb. Outstanding. And so would you have been, is it fair to say you'd have been the one who traveled the furthest in terms of people coming
Absolutely.
into
Yeah.
that?
There was a
Yeah.
girl from Iceland, but that
Really?
was a 6-hour plane ride.
Yeah.
I was on a 17-hour plane ride to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can fly direct to New York now. So it
Yeah. I
was
saw
nice
that.
to be on a direct flight.
So you did that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
17 hours on the plane. I did a lot of walking up and down, and the air hostess was probably like, "Who's this crazy girl?" I was doing all kinds of stretches. I was
Yeah,
doing couch stretch, broken toe, straddle, all of it.
yeah,
I was out the back of the
yeah.
plane, walking, doing laps, did a few laps of walking lunges, like anything to keep me moving. But
You've got to, haven't you? When it's that long a flight, I did Auckland, Dubai, not last year, I think, and that was 16. And yeah, you get stir crazy if you don't keep moving, especially when you're used to moving, right?
yeah, when you're used to being on your feet all day, it's a big change.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, good on you. Commitment, hey? Traveling that far, and obviously the Icelandic girl as well. I mean, obviously you guys are very committed to what you do. So kudos. You know, I'm sure the knowledge you've brought back is pretty special, and there's probably not that many people as well qualified. I mean, how would that compare to other people that may have done sort of kettlebell courses here?
So there's a few kettlebell courses in New Zealand. We don't actually have a massive kettlebell community, and within
Mm,
kettlebells, that's to say, within kettlebells, there's a few different types of kettlebells. So
yeah.
sometimes people there's kettlebell juggling, which I don't do that. That's way
Mm,
out of my league, and I would
mm,
definitely crash a kettlebell on my head. There's also kettlebell sport or gear voice sport, which is where they do the like 12-minute snatch test.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's hard style kettlebells. So I'm a hard style specialist. And in New Zealand, from what I am aware of, they're the only one that I know about is Mike Huffam's Master
Mm,
Kettlebell Academy. So
okay.
I did the level 1 with him. Um, and then I actually assisted him on a couple of courses as well,
Mm,
as kind of like his intern. So
mm,
I did both of those, but outside of that, there's not really that much opportunity here in New Zealand for kettlebell growth. And so that was
mm,
where going over to the States and one being one of the first bell mechanics certified trainers. So I'm one of 33 people certified, I think. So there's not that many of us. And
no.
yeah, just being able to do that was just another feather in the hat that I can bring
Yeah.
home here and say, right, like I've actually been certified by a big gun over in the States and not just me kind of making stuff up on my
Mm,
own.
absolutely. Well done. Congratulations, and
Thank
well
you.
done for investing in yourself as well. Not just the time and the travel, but you know, it's not a cheap thing to take that time out of your business as well. So you know, it's serious. Mm, mm. Um, Now I haven't brought this up yet, but at the beginning of this year, I was interviewing a lot of award winners because you know we were coming out of the end of November, which is when we have the annual New Zealand Awards. And it's quite great. It's great to be able to sit down with you and actually say congratulations to you for the 2022 up and coming PT of the year.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. That was honestly very exciting. When they called my name, I was not at all expecting my name to be heard. And my boyfriend was like, "Oi, get up, that's you." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Go now," and like pulled my chair and kind of pushed me up on the stage. And so I think in all the photos of me, I'm like, I looked like I've been stunned. I just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, good job. But it was amazing. The whole process I actually really enjoyed. And especially, I think as a young PT, it is such a valuable process. Like, even if you don't make it to the second stage or however many other stages you know however far you make it, it's
Mm,
so valuable to be able to go through and look at your business and look at what you do and like outline your KPIs. And there was so much kind of back of house stuff that I learned just through the process, that I think really has set me up. And it
mm,
was also cool because, as I mentioned, like being a young PT and being on your own, you're like, oh, am I doing this right? Or am I just making this
mm.
up?
Yeah.
And to go through the process and get that validation of like, actually, yeah, you're on the right track. And yeah, when I got through every stage and they're like, no, you're doing a great job. And I was like, really? I'm just kind of making it up. And they're like, well, how'd you get there? And I was like, I don't know, I just kind of figured it out. But
Mm,
to
mm.
know that you're on the right track is quite special, and to be like, yep, cool, I'm doing the right thing. And it just get for me, it gave me that like push to continue learning.
You're in the right place. Yeah. Hmm. That's brilliant. And clearly you'd recommend it to other people to go through that process by the sounds of things.
Absolutely. I think even like I know there is a cost associated with it and there is a cost like throughout, but even if you don't want to pay like the end money, like even going through the first couple of stages, like going as far as you can, looking
Yeah.
at the questions, understanding it, and just seeing what you can develop of your business. Like it showed me And like there's a lot of things I think we can all do, but then having to explain it is another
Mm,
step. And so there was
mm,
lots of things I was doing, but I didn't have them in like a clear and concise order. So I was able to
sure.
kind of format everything and make it
Mm,
look better. And it just really helped kind of
yeah.
tidy up all the edges.
Yeah, definitely. And so had you applied, or like, were you in the awards before, or was that the first time
That
you'd
was
been
the
in the
first time
awards?
I applied. Yeah.
Now, were you nominated, or did
Yeah.
you put yourself? You were.
No,
It's
I was
usually the way,
nominated.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
I
So,
didn't even know really what was going on. Like when I got the email, I was like, what is this? And like didn't really take note of it. And then my boss at Les Mills was like, hey, did you get the email? And I was like, what email? He's like, I nominated you for an award. I was like, okay. And so I went home and like probably looked at it. So
okay, okay. Oh, that's good. It's good that somebody could see that potential. I mean, obviously it was already there, but it's nice to have it recognized, isn't it?
yeah, again, it's the like the validation of knowing that you are just on the right track and you're in the
Mm,
right place. And like same as being in New York, like being in the room with the people who want to do the same stuff as me. Like you have to put yourself as a PT, you have to find your people and you have to find that community.
mm,
And I think you just have to learn. Like there's so many things, I can the HMC doing them
mm.
the weekend that I did with you guys. Like
Yeah,
I still use that with my clients. Like my
excellent.
scales are set up. That's actually you asked what was different in the upstairs and downstairs gym.
Oh
In
yeah,
the upstairs, we have two scales that they stand on.
nice, nice.
Few people use those to check their body weight, but otherwise we're
Good.
using them to check stance and balance. And so there's lots of little things that I think you just pick up from so many different areas, whether it's the awards process or it's a training course, or you just have to put yourself in the room with the people that know more than you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that immediately tells me, that you've got that growth mindset, right? You're humble enough to go, I don't know everything. I want to know more, and I will put myself, like you just said, in the position to learn from other people and finding your tribe, right? You've found your kettlebell tribe. They're obviously a great bunch of like-minded individuals. And you referred to the loneliness, right? I mean, even if you're in a big box gym, sometimes you're doing a lot of work on your own, nevertheless, with a client, but you're not always surrounded by people, and it can be lonely. So being able to tap into those communities, share stories, things you're stuck on, what about this, what about that, and bounce ideas, it's just so powerful. It does help you through some of those quiet times, or where you do feel a bit on your own. It fixes that pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you up to? What are you up to at the moment? Obviously, you've just done that course relatively recently. So, what's happening now? I know you did some work with a football team. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. So I juggle a lot of different roles. I like,
Of
as
course.
we've talked about, I like to be busy.
Yeah.
So my clients are kind of split through a few different areas. So I'm pre-postnatally certified.
Oh yeah.
So I did that training through Girls Gone Strong.
Yeah.
And I actually just recertified myself like 2 months ago, so still certified.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of pre and postnatal clients that I'm working with. So
Mm,
couple of them that I had through their pregnancy, through postpartum, and now we're through all that phase and we're getting back into sports. I've got a couple of like young mums, brand new pregnancies. And then I have kind of my Gen Pop clients or my
mm,
kettlebell stars. So some of them are there for movement or rehab, like corrections. So I've got a couple of hips, backs, shoulder injuries that I'm rehabbing. And then I have a few people who just want to move better and
mm.
train. And so they're just learning bell stuff. I've got a few people that like handstands, and then I've got my athletes on the other side. So I am the strength and conditioning coach for Eastern Suburbs Premier Women's Football Team. So
Ah,
that's
right.
been a big jump up.
Yeah.
It started with a conversation with Coach Suns, who is the goat in the industry in New
Okay.
Zealand. He's
Yeah.
amazing. And I said to him, I was like, hey, can we go for coffee so I can pick your brains about like working with athletes because I really want to work with them. And he's like,
Mm,
cool. Yep. So we had coffee and then he was like, text this number. And basically I was at a football training the next week. And that
mm.
was halfway through last year. And then at the end of last year, I got offered the Eastern Suburbs job. So I've been with the
Superb.
team since January.
So if that obviously helps people understand how you get into it. What responsibilities have you got in terms of time commitments? What do they need from you?
So, I mean, the time. So we train 3 days a week. So we're on grass 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
And then I actually have a strength and conditioning session with the girls full team in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I have two open gym hours that there is like an hour and a half for them to come in and see me sit on a
Sure.
bike, anything that they need, they
Yep.
can
Yep.
do that in the open gym. And
Okay.
then we have games, which is about 5 hours out of whatever day it is. It's either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So
Okay.
we're playing tonight. We're
Oh yeah.
playing
Yeah.
West Coast Rangers, so should be a good
Mm-hmm.
game.
Okay.
And yeah, my job, like as a strength and conditioning coach, my job is to be there to support the coach. And just basically, it's to make her job selecting the team as hard as possible. Because if I'm doing my job
Ah.
well, she's
Yes.
got a full
Yes.
string of top level athletes. So
Got you.
I've got to keep them healthy. I've got to make sure that they're conditioned for the sport. I've got to make sure that they're fit enough to be the best team on the
Mm,
field.
mm, mm.
And yeah, so on a like for example, today on game day, my job, we have little GPS trackers that the girls wear. So I'll
Ah.
set that up. I run them through their warm up. And then obviously while they're playing, anyone that's on the sub bench, I'll be warming them up continuously throughout the game.
Right.
Anyone that comes off, I'll cool them down. We do a full team cool down at the end, and then I
Right.
get the GPS back and I get to analyze the data. So
Ah, that must be
yeah,
quite interesting, right?
it's been really, really cool to look at. Yeah,
Mm,
the company that we have, like they have heat maps, so you can kind of see like where on the field girls were moving, how
really?
fast they were going, the
Yeah.
directions of their sprints, how many
Yeah.
accelerations, decelerations. I get lots and lots of data to look at, so it's been really cool.
That's fascinating. And I guess um, you can see if there's any risk in terms of the way they're doing things that could potentially lead to injury and that sort of thing, or
Yeah, so looking like we use
volume.
the data a lot for load management so that I
Yeah.
can see like, right, their speed is going up, or if some girl, like if her speed's dramatically lower than her average, be like, okay, what happened this week? Like what's going on there? So it just gives me
Yes.
like a rough overview. We have
Yeah.
had a few teething issues in setting the GPS up, but touch wood, we should be in the all clear now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic. I love that sort of stuff. I know the All Blacks get a laptop, don't they, at the end of each game of basically their game, and it gives them that data and probably a whole bunch more of information. And distance covered, that sort of thing, which is an obvious one, but
Yeah.
you know, if volumes are crazy high or someone's doing too much running or someone's not doing enough running, all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So like if someone's running 10K in a game, I don't need them running more over the weekend, where
Yeah,
compared to some girls might only run 3 or 4K in a game. And
yeah,
it's like, okay, cool. Now we've got to balance out the running between the whole team and make sure everyone's getting the
yeah,
same kind of distance
yeah,
done in a week.
yeah, yeah. So you managed to fit that into your week as well.
Yep. Yep.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
So I think my week, I mean, my spreadsheet or my to-do list, it's kind of chaotic. There's lots of colors going on. But I work on a Monday. I start at 5:45, and then I work through I till about 9:30, and then I take time out for myself to do some training, come home, do paperwork, and then I have the academy football players. So I work with the girls from age 8 up to 16.
All
So
right.
that's 2 hours on a Monday, and then Tuesday, same again, 5:45 start, work through to 9:30, come home, do some paperwork, and then I go back to the gym on Tuesday for three o'clock, and then I have
Mm,
clients until 5:30, and then football at 6:30.
yeah.
Wednesday, I've actually recently just changed this up, and I would recommend to all young PTs to do
Mm,
this for sure if you can. I know it does take a little bit of balancing, but Wednesdays I don't actually see any clients now. I've dedicated it all to paperwork and content and research and
mm,
just
mm.
all of the other jobs. Like there's so much of PT that isn't working with clients. And I
Yeah.
think it's very easy to be like, cool, I'll spend 40 hours in front of clients, but it's like, well, now you're getting nothing done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Wednesdays, I just have an hour with the football girls in the morning, and then I just do paperwork or odd jobs, meetings, life admin, all of that
Mm,
stuff
mm.
on a Wednesday. And then Thursday is my busiest day. Thursday, I am back to back to back from
Yeah.
5:30. I have an hour and a half for myself to train and an hour and a half for me in the afternoon to walk the dog and eat some
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
And I go till 8:30 at night. And
Okay.
then Friday, I work in the morning, and I have Friday afternoon to do paperwork.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Sounds like you've got a decent amount of balance there. Obviously, Thursday's a biggie, but you wouldn't do a Thursday every day of the week. So it's
Absolutely
a
not.
nice balance. And then you've got time for your games at the weekend as well.
Yeah, I try and see, I see about an average of 6 clients in a day.
Mm.
Um, and on a Thursday, I see 9, so
Yeah, yeah,
significantly more.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
what I did find something actually really interesting moving out of the commercial gym space. When I was at Les Mills, I really struggled to go back to back to back with clients because of how
Mm.
much other stimulation there was around me and the lights
Mm.
and the music and just
Yeah,
everything kind of being full noise. And like I would go home probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I was wiped for the whole rest of the afternoon. Like
right.
there's no way that if I was still in a commercial setting, I would be able to do as much as I am now. I'm in my office at home, so I
Yeah.
was also lucky enough to set that up. So I have a space just dedicated to work. Um, and I
Mm.
have a home gym set so I can kind of move around now. But I
Mm.
now have a quiet space, I've got nothing on the wall behind me. So
Yeah.
just trying to keep things in like a more peaceful time. And that's been
Mm.
really helpful because, yeah, at Les Mills, I was seeing maybe 2 clients back to back before I was like, I need 15 minutes, like I need a
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
Whereas now I can see 3 or 4 depending on the day and just go straight into the next. And I don't feel a lapse in my energy. My concentration's fine. Like
Interesting.
it's actually quite sustainable.
I do remember you mentioning that to me about the just the overload of being in that environment, which is it's kind of supposed to be motivating and inspiring to people in that space, isn't it? But it has other effects which may not necessarily be taken into consideration.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
definitely a hard balance to find. And obviously,
Mm.
being a big commercial gym, you've got to cater to the masses, but
Yeah.
it's, yeah, not always the ideal setup.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you for identifying that and finding what works for you, because that's that at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? And not everybody is as tuned to needing to do that than probably should be, I think. Good stuff. Well, you've dropped a lot of advice bombs throughout, but are there any sort of key ones that you think may be worth adding, just to just squeeze the last little bit of juice out of your knowledge and experience in your brain of what works for you and what other people might find useful?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, honestly, the biggest thing is invest in yourself.
Mm.
Like, I have
Mm.
put probably more money than most people my age and with my level of like PT experience. I've only been in the industry. This is the start of my 4th year.
Yeah.
Um, it's yes, literally 3 years as of March, so just into the fourth one.
Yeah.
And I've done my pre-postnatal cert. I did the HMC cert. I've done Mike's kettlebell cert. I've now done
Yeah.
bell mechanics. Like I am
Mm.
looking for any and every opportunity to upskill. I'm actually in the process of working with a good mate of mine, Marwin, and we're looking at
Mm.
kind of creating something for new up and coming PTs of like a little bit of structure and things to avoid. So that'll be
Yeah.
coming out soon. So you can
Nice. Nice.
people look out for that.
Keen to see.
But
Keen
I
to
would
see.
say like, yeah, invest in yourself, like find something that you're interested in and spend the money on learning because yeah, you can do something on your own, but you're never going to do it to the level that
Mm.
you could if you invest that
Mm.
money.
Mm.
And I would say, yeah, that has always been a point of difference between me and other PTs around me. Um,
Yeah.
Other advice, I'd say be really strict with your calendar.
Yeah.
That was advice that was given to me at the beginning of my career, and I was a little bit scared because, you're just starting out and you're like, oh, I want to say yes to everyone. But actually that's not what's helpful.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to find the right clients.
Mm.
And making sure you've got time for yourself. So like my clients know that unless there's like the world is ending and they really need me to move a session around, I'm not available between 9:30 and 11:30 because that's
Yeah.
when I like to train. That's
Yeah.
when my body feels good when I train. And so for me, that's the time that I reserve in my calendar and I have since the beginning. And
Right.
that's always been a big, big help because otherwise you end up saying yes to like 10
Mm.
clients and then it's four
Mm.
o'clock and you're like, well, I have no energy. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and like your clients want to see you doing what you're
Mm.
asking them to do.
Mm.
And
Mm.
like all of my clients, they know that my kettlebell mentorship is on a Friday morning. And so my clients I see on a Friday, they're like, oh, what did you learn today? Like, what are you going to
Yes.
bring us today?
Yes.
And so for your clients, it's really important that they see you putting in the work, they see you investing, and they see you doing all the things that you're asking them to do with you. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Other advice, oh yeah, well, so being picky with clients, like I
Oh yeah.
offer
Yeah.
my first session complimentary.
Yeah.
And it just gives me the chance to meet someone, see how they are with me, see how I am with them. Like, in the nicest way possible, not everyone is your cup of tea. And
Yeah.
there is no point training someone if they're going to suck the life out of you.
Mm,
And it's like you could have a client and you do 1 hour and they're so taxing that you can't see someone else. Whereas like the clients that I've got now, I still have clients. So one of my clients, I'm training her and her fiance. I see them both individually and one session together. She
mm.
was the first ever person I walked up to on the gym floor at Les Mills when I started and was like,
Wow.
"Hey, like, do you need help?" And so she's still with me 3 years later.
Brilliant.
I have a couple of clients at like who, again, I picked up the second week of training, and so all of my clients have been with me for a long time. And my retention rate is pretty high because
Mm,
I don't say yes to the kids. Like, if you're not my vibe, I won't train you because I can't give you my best.
mm, mm.
And you can't give that to me either. So it's got to be a relationship that goes both ways. And especially like as a PT, we get a lot of people's lives. We're with them. There's a lot of relationship building. And so if you don't like the person you're training, it's just not good for either of you. Like
Totally
all of my
agree.
clients, they know about my life, they know about my dog, they know about my partner, and vice versa. Like I know their kids' names, I know what their kids do at
Yeah.
school. Like
Brilliant.
all of that information is really important, and that rapport has to start from day one. So I would say be picky, and like when you're new, it's really hard because all you see is dollar signs. But
Mm,
if you can be selective and find the clients that fit, they will stay with you for a whole lot longer. Like, yeah, looking
yeah.
at my
And
client list now, I all the clients that I've had come back to me this year were all people that I had trained, and for whatever reason they had to have a break. They all came straight back. And so that's the other thing. Like when you choose the right clients, when they have a break, it doesn't need to be like, oh, I'm losing clients, I need to go get more. They'll come back to you when they're ready. Like there's lots of things that happen in people's lives, whether it's financial stress or they just get busy, like work is hectic
mm,
or other things that mean
mm.
they might not have time for you. They will come back. If your service is good enough, they will come straight back to you when they are ready.
Yeah, 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 brilliant. That's so true. And I think that tactic, which seems like you might be, picky is the right word, but it creates the sustainability, both from an energy balance, but also from a client list point of view. I mean, there's not really a lot of downside, and it can easily be overlooked. Like you say, the dollar signs can sometimes be a bit dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Hannah. Thank you. I've been scribbling. That's why I kept looking down.
Oh,
Um,
of course. Hopefully there was some good stuff. I know I read a
loads,
lot.
loads, 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 loads. You have a wise head on your shoulders for someone so young.
Thank you.
Thank you. So where can people find you? I mean, obviously, you've got some serious kettlebell knowledge that people may want to tap into, and you may already be too busy to help more people, but at least
Oh no,
people
I'm never too busy.
could pick
Always.
your
I'm
brains.
looking, I'm actually in the process of developing some online programs and
Cool.
a kettlebell like course.
Right.
Kind of essentially a training course. It's all in the brainstorming phases right now,
Sure.
but something that I can offer coaches here in New Zealand,
Mm,
where I'm offering people like just people who want to train or offering coaches. I'm kind of still in the like exploring that. Only came back from New York, I think it was 2 weekends ago now. So
right. Right.
still getting out of there. But
Yeah.
you can find me on Instagram. My big goal for this year was to be a little bit more active on the Instagram. So coachhand.pt is my uh, username. But I don't love it a lot. And I would say that this is another challenge for young PTs. Like I knew that Instagram and filming myself and being on camera wasn't something that I was comfortable with. And
Mhm.
instead of trying to do it all in my first 2 years,
Mm,
I instead focused really, really heavily on my relationships with clients and how I was actually doing my job. And I only really started the Instagram the end of last year, I think, and even
okay.
now still building that because
Yep.
I think there are a lot of people who are like, oh, I want to be a PT. Let me post stuff on social media.
Mm,
But
mm,
like, if you don't know who you are as a coach and what you want to be putting out, you just start putting out like way too much or
yeah.
not enough.
Mm,
And I think if you focus on doing the job right and then trying to add all the this and that and everything else, like you'll go a lot further than if you try to do everything all at once.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. I couldn't agree more. That's fantastic. I will add that handle into the show notes so people can literally hit the link and find you. Um, I don't think there's any don't think there's anything else there. I think it's probably I need to let you go and carry on with your admin and
Yes, after
keep
football soon.
brainstorming.
So
Cool. Well, I hope the game goes well tonight, and yeah, catch you soon.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Cheers.